Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction Renovation Magazine. I've got a halo on there for my light, but this is what it used to look like. Uh, Jason Sweeney from AAA, Southern California, and January 2021. This was actually a couple months late. August of 2020 was the last year that I published the magazine, in print form. And we're 100% digital and we still were print on demand, but always good to hold it in my hands. And let's see where I was at. Oh, I was down in the locker room for our indoor lacrosse team at called the Georgia Swarm. They just made the playoffs last weekend, so they're in the hunt. And but Anyway, it's always nice. I'll tell you, I was up in Charlotte yesterday. I had a reception. We took a tour of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which was awesome. And anyway, Little's headquarters are right a couple blocks away in the Regions building up on the 16th floor. And I brought some magazines, and some people had never seen it, and they were like grabbing them, and they were like, "Oh my God, man, look at this thing! It's just so nice." And I said, "Yeah, but we just don't do them anymore. And I don't miss the printer. I don't miss the post office. I don't miss any of those guys. But we still print it in high res, so you can always get it at print on demand. And but people hadn't seen the magazine before. They were like, "Wow, this thing is unbelievable." And I said, "Yeah, we did a good job when we were printing. We still do a good job digitally. It's just digital versus pink and ink and paper." But in any event, great event in Charlotte. Rained all day, all the way up there. It's about a 3-hour ride from Atlanta, where I live. And as soon as I got there, rain stopped. Had a great afternoon. Had reception, and then as soon as I got on the highway, it started raining again all the way back. So Mother Nature, thanks for not ruining our event yesterday. But it was really good to see some people I haven't seen in a while, and nothing like in person and shaking some hands and talking business, and all in all a great day. I got my Denver swag on because our Denver Pioneers last night, we beat Boston University in the semifinals in the Frozen Four, and Michigan lost to Boston College. So bring it on, boys! Bring on the Eagles, because we're going for our 10th national championship, and that game's going to be unbelievable. I've already had my local alumni we're called the Peachtree Pios down here in Atlanta, and they've already said, "Hey, I know you're out of town yesterday, but you got to come in for the watch party to, so show your face." And everybody was texting me, and it went into overtime. Unbelievable. DU played you got to win 4 games to get the national championship. So the first round, they went overtime. They won 2-1. Second round, they went overtime. They won 2-1. Yesterday, went overtime, won 2-1. So I don't know what's going to happen on the last one. If it's going to be 2-1, but three's the charm, I guess. I don't know, but listen, those teams are all loaded. They're all future NHLers, and any one of those teams could beat any other team on any other day. And it was funny because I was waiting for the game started at 5 o'clock. The reception ended at 5. We walked over. I put my jersey on, and people were like, "What's going on?" So I had the game on my phone, and people were looking, and I had people texting. It's gut wrenching when you're watching it. And as soon as I was pulling out of the garage, they won it in overtime. And I told my wife, I'm like, "Oh my God." I told her, I said, "If they lose, I'm gonna have a really bummer of a ride." It was pouring. Of course, they rained. I was like, "I don't care. We're going to the finals, baby." So on the lax front, lacrosse. I was a hockey lacrosse player at DU. On the lax front, we're playing Georgetown tomorrow. I think they're ranked number 8. We're number 10 in the country. So it's Big East play, and we got to keep the wins going on so we win the number 1 seed for the tournament coming up, and hopefully they'll get into the May dance, and that's where all the marbles and the level of play goes up. And but once again, it should be a great weekend, and can't wait to see both the ice pios and the lax pios on the green turf, get her done. But with that said, beautiful day here. Rain the last couple days, washing off all that pollen, and a little chilly, a little windy, but I'll take it going into the weekend. TGIF to everybody out there. And with that said, I've got a nice gentleman up in basically central Jersey. His name, excuse me. His publicist reached out, and I read the bio, and I'm like, "Oh, this is really cool. I've never had a parking garage, expert on my show." So with that said, Colin Heffron Jr. He's the VP of Product Development. Colin, say hello to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey everybody, and thank you for having me on, David. It's a pleasure to
Yeah,
be here.
absolutely. Absolutely. Always like to talk to New Jersey. Like I said, we were talking before, I'm from Philly. My mom was from Philly. My dad was from New York. I went to prep school in New Jersey. I have had a house in Atlantic City, Margate forever, and have fond memories. Still have a lot of family up there. The only time I go up there is during the summer. I'm not coming up there during the winter, so it's even though it's been kind of mild up there this year, I figure the one that I go up there, it'll be, 10 inches of snow all weekend. So, but love New Jersey and have very, very fond memories of just, everything, Garden State Parkway, the New Jersey Turnpike, Rutgers, Rider College, Princeton, just I've had a great time in New Jersey and played a lot of lacrosse and hockey in that state too. So way back in the day. So Colin, the way we're going to work this, we're doing it in three parts. You're going to tell your story where you grew up, where you went to school, how you ended up where you are today at Barnacle Parking. Then we'll talk about lessons learned from the roller coaster that we've all been on over the last couple of years and any new products or services that you had. And then you'll leave one positive thought or phrase, your contact info, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm Colin Heffron Jr. I was part of the co-founding team of Barnacle Parking Enforcement, and when I was just finishing up college, and I actually went to Dartmouth College, so another hockey team in
Oh
school.
yeah. Hey, listen, I know them all, man. Ivy League. There you go, baby. Right?
And, I probably like a lot of other seniors in college, didn't really know what I wanted to do, was attracted to, the startup, the high opportunity. And right as I was finishing college, my dad, Colin Heffron Sr., who's the inventor of the Barnacle and the product, was getting organized and wanting to start this venture. And so he brought me on after he had hired the first CEO, Kevin Doherty, to sort of support and help get this business started. And that was back in 2016, 2017. So we've been doing this for 7 years. And for those who don't know and think, what is Barnacle Parking? Barnacle Parking is a immobilization device that we believe can replace booting and then in a lot of cases towing as well. And instead of going on the wheel, it goes on the windshield and it attaches through suction. And it's a smart device. It is connected to the Internet of Things. And we believe that it's a better solution to creating a good, sustainable, healthy, mobile parking environment.
Yeah, absolutely. What was your major at Dartmouth?
I actually did government, so international relations and business.
Oh, nice, nice. One of my favorite mountains to ski up in New Hampshire was Waterville Valley. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Just outside Boston, and but like I said, I'm a Yankee. I'm living in the South. But you said New Hampshire. I'm like, ooh, Waterville Valley, man. It's been a while since I've been there, but anyways, I had some good runs over the years there. Back in the day as well. So, um, talk about how your dad kind of figured out this is what he wanted to do. Was it an epiphany, or was he in parking before? Or
Yeah, no. So I grew up in London, England, actually, and this is where he kind of, he experienced enough pain to create the idea. And, he was getting a lot of parking tickets and was also getting clamped. In England, they call the boot the clamp. And with the clamp, you had to go to the city payment site, make the payment, go back to your vehicle, wait for that person to, come back and meet you at your car. And after a couple times, he was just like, I would rather get towed because I don't have to spend 6 hours of my day trying to get my car back. I can just go to work. I know the car is going to be in the tow pound. So, let's just do that. And over time, he asked the question, why do I have to wait for this to why do I have to wait to pay and then wait for someone to come remove this. In theory, I could remove this myself and then return it, or improve and make that process more efficient. And so, that became a conversation to a sketch, to patents, and then to the pilot product. And over time, we're now in like 40 states and working with cities, governments, universities, property managers, apartment complexes, basically, anyone who has a parking problem that they feel that, is causing pain. And that's different for everybody, but that's who we target, and we want to help.
So so normally like even up here where I right now I'm just got my permits done, so hopefully I'll be breaking ground in my empty nester house. But up by our pickleball and tennis courts, they actually just put some fences in, but they have a little sign there that says if you're parked here midnight to whatever, we're going to tow you, and here's the towing company. So people, if you're parking someplace that you're not supposed to, they normally will have a sign of who to call, and they tell you where you're at. So talk about how your solution
Yeah.
alleviates all that, from, putting it on the wheel. How does that work?
So, I would say first off, there are certain violations which it makes more sense to tow for. Let's say, a fire hydrant, blocking an entrance, parking in an accessibility parking spot.
Mm-hmm.
For those, towing is more understandable, but 90% of violations aren't in fact those violations. So, we would go to the pickleball, property owner and say, these are your customers coming to park here, right? And it probably doesn't make sense for you to tow these people who are coming to you because they want to engage in your business. And at the same time, you can't just let people park everywhere they want, because what if you want clients to come and they have nowhere to park? They're like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the movies. And, that's where we fit in, because we believe that compliance and creating a good, healthy parking lot is critical for business owners. It's helpful for, you know, buyers, consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have the opportunity to create the compliance, but in a less punitive way, where the individual understands the mistake, they don't have to spend 6 hours and $600 trying to figure out where their car went, how to get it back, spending money on their Uber, and all of that stuff that I've actually gone through. So it's not fun, and that's not to say that getting a barnacle is fun, but what we say is, we make a situation that sucks suck a little bit less.
Yeah. So there's like a barcode on the windshield, and
Yeah.
correct. So like if I come into one of your parking one of your customers, and I park in a space and I don't have the barcode go out there, does the property manager, the owner, he goes out there, and how does that work if they don't have the so it's basically
Permit.
if you have the barcode on there, you're safe. But if someone doesn't have the barcode on there, he knows that, tell me how that process works.
Definitely. So in most parking lots, the reason that business owner owns that lot is so that they can, create revenues. And those revenues are tied to people coming, paying for the spots, and then the turnover that happens. And so when a vehicle comes into that lot, let's say they don't have the permit, they are not being a patron of that business. Typically that parking lot owner has some sort of technology, be it, license plate recognition cameras. They have a permit, system where they can identify, okay, this car should be here, this car should be here. Okay, not for this one. In the event that they identify that vehicle, they'll get a barnacle, put it on the windshield, and it will take about 30 seconds to deploy. And when that motorist, the vehicle owner comes back to their car, they're going to see a big yellow thing on their windshield. They're going to be able to scan the QR code, make a payment, and then receive a release code to then return it to a predetermined location.
Does the does the barnacle that you stick on the windshield, is it easy to remove, or is it very sticky? You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
adhesive.
so we actually we borrowed the suction cup technology from the commercial glass making industry and applied that basically to a windshield. And before making payment, it's quite hard to remove, obviously. It has up to 1,000 pounds of force. It
Right.
has GPS and it has tamper alarms. So, if you were the property owner and you're 2 minutes away, you would be notified in the event that someone is trying to tamper with it and take it off before payment. And then after payment, the suction releases really quickly and it just pops off. So, we have male, female, all different types of people who deploy and interact with all these devices.
What do they do? What do they do with the the advisory that you're parking illegally? What do they do with it once it comes off and they make their payment? Where does that go?
So typically, not too dissimilar to a hotel, when you make the payment to release the barnacle, we include a deposit on that transaction, which will incentivize that motorist to return the barnacle to the location which we would text them. Let's say they don't return it, either they want to keep it, they want to put it on their wall,
They threw it in the river, whatever, right?
exactly. In that instance, we would collect that deposit and, be able to recoup some of that value.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Listen, I remember one time I wasn't even parked there 2 minutes. I was dropping something off when I was in college in Denver, and the guy stuck this thing on my window, and I mean, I didn't even have my flashers on, you know. I just wanted to drop off. I was dropping off a book or something, for a report. I forget. I couldn't even been there like 2 minutes. But anyway, put this thing and it was on the side of my car, and I had to scrape that off, get the rubbing alcohol. I mean, it was a pain in the butt. And uh I don't know if he gave me a ticket. It was just, kind of like, hey, you're not supposed to be parking here. And but I had my flashers on, but oh well, I mean, I didn't do that again, because it took
Right.
forever to get all that, stuff off of there. But the uh I mean, your fines are probably just as you're competitive within the industry, right? Depending on what city you're in. Obviously towing's more, or less, whatever, but you're probably right in there with the towing services and stuff, correct?
So, we like to differentiate ourselves from the tow. We want to be less punitive from a time perspective as well as a cost perspective because it's a lot of money for some people, for everyone. And
Yeah.
if we can accomplish driving that compliance so that, consumers and vehicle owners obey the rules more often without having to, be monetarily overly punitive, then that's the best position for us because the property owner, the business owner that we, is our direct client, they're happy because they're not pissing anyone off, like they would with that when towing. They're
Hmm.
able to, have a conversation with people, if that's what they would like. And it's less hostile and it's a bit more civilized. It's less time consuming. And, we really believe that parking, believe it or not, I like to say that parking is the most interesting, least interesting thing that people talk about. And, the more that I've been in the industry, everyone kind of deals with parking, be it new real estate developments, airports.
Multi-house. Oh yeah. I mean, listen.
Exactly. And the more efficient that those things can be, the less upstream problems we believe there will be.
Listen, I paid $26 last night. I was in there from when did I get up there? About 2:15. I left at 8 o'clock. Not too bad for a downtown location, I mean, it was, that building was, dead center in downtown Charlotte. And but the spaces were a little narrow. Had my truck, so trying to find where I wasn't sticking out too
Right.
far. But they had, I scanned my ticket, put my card in, and then, gave me a receipt and boom, the gate went up. But for those boots, they call it the Denver boot, way, but
Right.
I think it was invented. I have no idea, but that's what they call it, the Denver boot. But people, you see these videos on YouTube or whatever, people trying to
Right.
get the boot off, you're just going to ruin your axle or your rim or whatever. And, uh, but look, it's parking. You got to have space for your customers. And, it's definitely not cool if people, take up space where they're not supposed to be. And, uh, but so someone comes back, they see the advisory, do they scan it? Do they call?
So they have two options. They can either scan that QR code and pay online, or they can pay directly through our automated call center.
What if they decide, screw it, man, I ain't paying this. I'll just get this car later or whatever.
Yeah.
Depending on the parking lot, the amount of hours, eventually, if they leave it, they're going to tow it, right?
Yeah. In most cases, we care less about that policy and we care more about being aligned with, the property manager owner. And in most cases, they will give that vehicle a window of, 24 to 72 hours, depending, where they will then escalate that enforcement. I think the benefit of not towing in that instance we have found is that in some cases, not all cases, because there are some angry motorists, but
Right.
the ability to still have your car there, you know, creates a conversation between that motorist and that property manager, which sometimes can result in forgiveness, conversation, better understanding, so that while this has happened this instance, we don't want to do this, right? We do it when we need to because it impacts all aspects of our business, and we're not going to tell you. So we hope you appreciate that. And I think that's a little naive of me to say, because even in my instance, am I going to be happy to be enforced in parking? Obviously not. But if it can save time, money, hassle, then I think, that's the goal.
Yeah. How do you get your product? Do you get spec'd in at the planning stage if someone's building a development, or is it an aftermarket product that someone built a multifamily and they didn't have a gate but they had parking spots and no you know what I mean, no security. So how does
Right.
that, you mean from a marketing business development point of view?
Totally. And I think parking is a funny industry because you mentioned the Denver boot. The latest or the last innovation for a parking enforcement boot was the Denver boot in 1960. And I think that is a good representation of not all of parking, but most of parking. And in the past, 10 years, there's been a massive push towards integration, towards data, towards digitizing all these important pieces of the business. One, because it makes them more efficient, but two, because they can begin to talk to each other. And so, if you have the cameras that are delivering data to the enforcement officer's handheld, or the metered, the censored parking spaces, and then you integrate that with Barnacle, you can quite effectively and efficiently have a really good picture of what's going on in your parking environment, from, you know, how many people come in, how much revenue is coming in, what is the turnover like, how many empty spots do I have, what is the right amount of parking? And I think that that's, as an industry, where we are heading, where, for 50 years, we've kind of been in this urban sprawl, period, where it was about expansion. The vehicle was going to be, the bastion of freedom and, expansion. And I think that has been great, but we are starting to pivot towards understanding that, real estate is a premium, and we probably have too much parking for the demand that is required of that. And that means that over time there will be less parking. So we need to really be efficient and thoughtful about how we create these parking systems, because they have the ability to make everything move smoothly and well. And in the inverse, if not done well, it can really create a lot of problems for everyone who deals with that.
So a minute, like I'm from Philly, so I remember, the meter maids, they're going along, they're checking the meters. If your meter's out, they write your ticket, they put it under your windshield, and that person does whatever. Either they pay it, they throw it away, they stick it in the other stack that's sitting in their glove box, whatever.
Yeah.
So, does like a municipality, instead of writing the ticket, do they have like a whole stack of your suction cups that they? I mean, I'm just curious on how that all works.
No, that's a great question. And it actually speaks directly to the different type of clients that we have. There's like the private client where that individual owns the property and in most cases does not need to issue any ticket or warning to enforce on that vehicle. And then on the city side, it's different. You very much need to issue those tickets. And if you exceed either a dollar level, a number of tickets, or the, a if the tickets are 30 days or older, then you escalate into the next level of enforcement. So let's say you're a meter maid, you would have a handheld device or you'd be in a vehicle that has cameras and you'd be driving down the streets. You would see ABC 123. Oh, yep, they owe $300 worth of tickets. We would then integrate with that citation management company, which is responsible for managing that whole process from delivering the hardware of the handhelds to printing the tickets to managing and understanding when they're not paid, how long it's been since they have not been paid or issued, and what the escalation period is. And between the moment of ticket being issued and barnacle being applied, there's a lot that goes into it.
Oh yeah.
Cities send out letters, there are potential court dates, and in the event that that individual, is non-responsive, that's when the barnacle gets applied.
See, I would think, like, look, I don't use paper and ink anymore. I mean, I still do, but I'm not printing the magazine, so I'm trying to help the environment. But
Right.
you just think that the amount of paper that municipalities or the government uses, it's such a waste of paper. The post office is just awful, in my opinion. They keep raising the rates and the service gets worse. Sorry, USPS, but I'm just telling the truth. Um, and you figure that a municipality, they could save on postage, paper, and if they have a camera as they're driving down the street and they're looking at a plate, okay, hey, this guy has 300. They know who that's registered with. I'm sure when you get your car registered, whatever, there's an email on there that it could be put together with your technology where that person, hey, I'm the meter maid. I'm sitting here, 300. I'm gonna stick this thing on the windshield, and uh, you got to pay it, or you're gonna get towed.
Right.
Right? Exactly.
Totally. And you know, from a sustainability perspective, I think a lot of parking is looking at what currently exists and how we can improve on that. So the issuing of tickets and that paper trail is massive. And definitely something that I think the future has in store. Digitally issuing tickets, technically how that works, we will see, but
Yeah.
I expect that to be, being used. And then one thing I didn't mention too is from a gas efficiency carbon emission perspective, towing is like one of the worst possible vehicles for that. And similarly with a boot, you need to send out a team to remove that boot after it's been paid. So we are basically cutting the city's work in half because they don't need to go out there to remove it, and the motorist takes it back themselves. So, within that workflow, we believe that there is additional, sustainable measures that we're practicing and implementing.
See, I could see with AI and robots, that would be something that, you could have a robot, driving the car, looking at plates, and then maybe having someone in there that's just a real live person in there versus a whole team of people walking block after block after block
Right.
and just getting it done so much more efficiently. You save on the paper. If you have to put the thing on, maybe there's a robot that puts it on there. I mean, I don't want to put anybody out of work, but
Right.
it just seems like it's just more an efficient way to do it, and it's so much more civilly. If you came out and you had one of those on there, whether you made a mistake or not, at least you have that conversation. Because when you don't, normally you call these places, yeah, you're put on hold. It's on
Right.
the other side of town. They want cash. Uh,
Right.
you don't know how the car was towed, and and then you get into all these other little things. And I always listen. I'm 60 years old. I've had my car towed a couple of times. I'm a bad boy, you know. But I just remember people getting irate at some of these places, and they're not the nicest places in town. Let's face it. They're not going to put a tow yard, in premium real estate. So, uh,
Right.
I always used to give people credit, that worked in there, because they were just getting, hounded. But they did, you got to follow the rules. That's just the reality of it. So, uh, how much competition? You got patents on your your technology and stuff. I mean, are there other people out there? I mean, copying's flattering is the best gig that you can get.
So, right now, our competitors, while we would distinguish ourselves, are the boots, and
Boots. Okay.
they have they've had some improvement in terms of, them being able to be released themselves, but in terms of, how it's used, how it's applied, and the technology behind it, I would say no. Which is, feel lucky to be in that position. And so we emphasize to always, how can we improve this device from a hardware perspective as well as a software perspective.
Oh, now listen, this sounds awesome. I mean, if you don't have to put something on your car, especially with alloy wheels and aluminum, they're
Yeah,
not as durable as they used to be. And the last thing you want to have in there, and then someone that doesn't understand what the heck that thing is, I'll just drive it off, and you just cause more damage. This just seems like a much more civil way to kind of just say, look, you made a boo-boo, and that property manager or owner, or the parking lot, whatever it might be, he has that opportunity to say, you know what, you made him. I'm feeling good today. I'm gonna let you go. And
totally.
conversation. Yeah, it's much more civil. It just seems a much more civil way. Um, but there are people. They're just gonna park in those handicap spots, or person that parks in. They take two spots because they don't want to get door dinged, or right. I mean, I go down the list of people that I see, and it just seems like it's just more civil way to come. I get all sorts of products sent to me, and I never had a parking kind of consultant
Right.
liaison, and that's why I had you on there. So you know if anybody's out there on commercial construction coffee talk, and you got a shopping center, a strip mall, or you got an entertainment center, you got a hotel, and you got an issue with people parking, especially if there's a sports game in town, or depending on where your location is, location. um, if you haven't thought about going about this technology, and you can still keep your relationship with the tow company, because if they don't pay it, you got to get rid of the car anyway. But this is just a much more civil way. Um, if someone wanted to reach out to you and run some numbers or figure out how it all works, how would someone reach out to you?
So yeah, you can reach out to me directly. My email is Colin, Colin, at barnacleparking.com. Um, and we also, my phone number is 201-940-7509.
There you go. So listen, like I said, if you're a property owner, hotel owner, a restaurateur, entertainment center, whatever it might be, and you were thinking about upgrading your parking lot, like I said, right now in my little subdivision I'm in, they just put these gates up, and I always wondered, like I run it. Sometimes I'll run it at night, and I'll go back up by the courts, and I'm like, why are these cars parked here? No one's back here, and but they do have the sign, but now they have the gates. And um, but if you have a parking structure and you want to update it with technology and make it more civil, reach out to Colin, and see what the the advantages and the benefits and so forth are. And I think that you'll probably I don't know if they increase their revenue, but they probably get their money quicker, and they don't have to deal with irate customers and then accusing you of, what did look what you did to my car, blah blah blah. I'm sure all that stuff goes in there, and
Exactly.
yeah. So, and listen, it's a revenue thing. So if you can still make your money and keep the people happy campers, even though they made a boo-boo, that's the name of the game. Because next time when they come there, they're going to know that they're going to have to. They can't do that. But it's much more civil than coming out. Where's my car? You know,
Right.
I have my
And
medicine in there. Or what? I can go, shoot, but well, that's awesome. I mean, is parking that big of an issue in London? I mean, I've been in London, but it's been a long time. But I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, in most cities now, it's become a, an increasingly big problem. And I think, as it relates to the past 3 years, there was a lot of forgiveness and, pausing of a lot of rent,
right.
whatever you want to call it. And, now cities, businesses are sort of in need of create, collecting revenues in new ways that are different than what was used before. And certainly we have found that this is a growing problem, but also one that is that cities are more willing to address because of the technology that exists now. That makes it easier for both them and then also the motorist. Uh,
Is there an ROI term, as far as it 6 months, a year, whatever that, from your investment when you get your technology and in place?
yeah, so depending on how many units you get, let's just use one unit, right? We offer it for a flat monthly fee. So we do not take any release fees from the payment made, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And we like to basically say that, after two deployments, you've paid for your barnacle in a month. And, the cost is fairly low because, we want to scale and we want to show people and continue to expand because, we believe this is a growing problem. And I actually just read an article um, in the Post about a city that has over $1 billion worth of uncollected parking tickets. And when you think about how do we balance budgets, how do we, make the city more efficient so that we can spend money on things that, people really care about.
For
I th
need, yeah. Hmm.
I think that, you know, public policy and perception is shifting towards being more aggressive in attacking that, but not in the nature in which they address that, if that makes sense.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is awesome. Hey, listen, like I said, if you're out there and you have you're building development, you want to be high tech and you want to put this in, so and you can be civil, or if you're doing a renovation and you're upgrading your hotel parking lot or what have you, technology is an amazing thing. It's at warp speed these days, especially with AI involved. And here's an opportunity where you can, like you said, we want everybody to pay, if you made a boo-boo, you got to pay for your mistake and they'll learn from it, but at least that they'll have a good feeling about it versus having their car towed. Where is it? Now I got to do all this stuff and people are always going to park when they're not supposed to. I just, that's just the reality of it. But it just seems like it's a really cool thing. So I'm glad I had you on the show. Like I said, I didn't have anybody, and I was reading the bio and it's like, oh wow, Listen, if
Right.
anybody wants to reach me, I'm at David C at ccr-mag.com. Once again, Colin got on here. His publicist sent me a PR piece. I just looked at it and I was like, cool technology. Wow, this barnacle. But, I was like, barnacle. Oh, I'm thinking about the barnacle and I'm looking at the beach, on the rocks. They stay, you can't get rid of them. So, uh, cool name, but obviously a necessity and technology, and it improves the process and it's a revenue producing thing. And and there's so many parking lots and people that are probably out there that need to drive, especially in municipalities. And and governments, and hopefully the money that they can save, hopefully they'll put that money to better use than wasting it like they do. So sorry about that, guys. I'm just being real, you know. So uh if but like I said, the way that Colin got on here, he sent me a PR piece. So it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, like the lottery last week was $1.5 billion. I forget. Some guy out west just won it, man. He probably freaked out when he saw those numbers. But the bottom line is, you know how he won? He bought a ticket. All right. So if you don't send me something, I can't look at it. Very tough to get in the magazine, but we look at everything. I post stuff every day, and share the URL with you. It's good for your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. That's how Google finds you. And we post stuff all day long. We had 3.6 million people, I think, last month hit our website, 200,000 unique users. The, you know, Let us be the judge. It could be a charity golf tournament. It could be new product release. It could be an anniversary. It could be any of those things. So let us be it. Very tough. Like I said, tough to get in the magazine, but we post everything. So, just send it to us, and it's a win-win. So, Colin, before we finish up, if there was one positive thought or phrase that you want to leave with our listeners out there, as we're in Q2 now, what would it be?
You know, I had a conversation, as you have conversations, some stick out. And I was talking to my friend's dad, who is a successful businessman. And, I was just talking to him about Barnacle, and, it's not happening as quickly as we'd like. And, he said that every overnight business, excuse me, every overnight business success has been built 10 years beforehand. And it gave me great perspective, because, you always want it to happen quicker than it happens. And it's great to be patient and to be persistent, and also to realize that, these stories, these successes that we see, be it sports, politics, business, whatever it is, it's always due to commitment and a long period of work and understanding and expertise. And it gave me confidence, but also, great perspective, because for me, you just got to keep going, just keep swimming, like Dory says.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, I run every day 5 or 6 miles, and I do a little cool down video, and just what's on my mind. And I always I think yesterday, the other day, I did, hey, this is an oldie goodie, but if you don't succeed, try again, and eventually you will, because you're gonna learn, what you made, what you need to improve on, what you made your mistake, and take that knowledge and apply it. And then eventually, if you're persistent, consistent, and you're improving every day, you will succeed eventually. Hopefully quicker than than it was going. But you got to have that positive attitude. You got to have a positive mindset. Mindset is everything. So that's a great quote, and um, couple things before we finish. Number one, if you're out in a construction site, all right, we want you to be safe. I want you to get home, be able to eat dinner with your wife, your husband, your kids, your partner, your dogs, cats, whatever. Relax, catch some Z's, and be able to do it the next day. Very important. Number two, we want you to stay liquefied. I just have my bottle, and I got rid of it. But anyway, put some electrolytes in there. The summer's coming, the heat's coming, but you got to stay hydrated. All right. When you get dehydrated, you get headaches. When you get headaches, that's when you get mistakes happen, whether it's on the athletic field, on the construction site, in business. Bottom line is stay hydrated. Drink water, put those little powders in there, and you will feel so much better all day, and you'll sleep better too. I assure you, your body will love you for it. And number three, hit the like button. Okay, we want people to find the algorithms, for the channel, and to hear Colin's story. And so hit the like button, and if you want to leave a comment too, hey, we love you. We get about I don't know, I probably get 3,000 subscribers a month on my channel, and probably where am I? 30,000. I don't know. I grow every month, but for all you out there that are finding me, whether it's my positive thought of the day or any of my podcasts, I have over 700 videos up there. We appreciate you. I totally do. So thanks for finding us out there. So, Colin, pleasure meeting you. If I come up, in the summer here, because my buds, I know they're going to say, come down to Margate, come down, come into Philly, see your cousins, blah blah blah. I'd like to see your gig in action, and that would be awesome. And listen, it's the weekend, everybody, TGIF today. So remember, finish the day out strong, smile on your face, positive attitude. Go enjoy your weekend, get rid of all those negative thoughts, and get ready to do it again all next week. So with that said, Colin, say goodbye from New Jersey.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am going to sign off from Sugar Hill, just below the Beaufort Dam, on Lake Lanier, about 20, 30 miles north of downtown ATL. And for all you hockey guys out there, listen, Final Four, Frozen Four, it's going to be Boston College against my University of Denver Pioneers. Hey, go watch the game, man. It's going to be the best hockey you're ever going to see. You're going to see all future NHLers out there. It's going to be unbelievable. So enjoy the weekend, everybody. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Colin, awesome product. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. All right.
Thank you very much.
And we will see you all later. Ciao, everybody.